the weather report.
And training off.
Well, you're all very bright at the moment, especially you, Patrick.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's
Much light.
well, it's kind of an overcast day here. I'm in my sister's kind of sun porch, so there's windows all around, so a lot of light coming in.
Nice.
It's nice, 70s, something like that.
How about you, Robert?
It's fairly mild, so it's nice after summer.
Good. It's not raining at the moment?
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's a lovely light gray here.
Lovely light gray.
Yes, we have, many words for gray and overcast, rain, light rain. Yeah, beautiful, temperate, I don't know, about 12 degrees Celsius. I've changed my display to Celsius on my phone. I have no idea what degrees it is. Somewhere, probably in the 60s, low 60s right now. Lovely. Okay, Matthew?
It's sunny, there's a little bit of a breeze.
Sunshine there. Where are you? On the eastern.
Yeah, I'm on the east coast, North New England area.
Aha. Another Yankee.
That's right. We got too many Yankees on the project, huh?
I don't know. I think Robert holds his own as a European representative.
That is true. That is true.
I'm not a Yankee. I'm a half Free Stater, my left half, of course, and then half Southerner. So.
Virginia went with the Confederacy, though, right?
Well, and North Carolina. Deep roots in North Carolina and Southern Virginia. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
I make cornbread. All right, let's go.
What's that?
I make a good cornbread. Okay.
I love okay, so, and usual stuff. We'll do the scrum real quickly. So I guess I can go first. I've reviewed PRs. I've submitted a PR with refactoring address visibility from company to address model. And I created an epic for the overall attempt to add multiple addresses for a company of various types with various attributes. And I'm starting on the second story in that epic as of this morning. So that's where I'm at.
I'll go next. I worked on the mail, sending mail, PR, which is big, but it's a noisy submission of a PR because it's got all those commits and because Hound is really complaining. But so that's ready to be reviewed, and I wrote up some suggestions for how to review it because it is a big and ugly PR. And then I started looking at your PR, Matthew, your tests and stuff, and wrote up, finally got the client notes written up just moments ago. So that's where I am.
Thanks.
I guess I thought, we'll say one more thing. I've really been percolating, thinking about this, applying points to bugs or not. And anyway, we can discuss it in a team meeting or on Slack, or if people aren't interested in beating that horse anymore, that's fine. But it just been percolating on that. Okay, now I'm done.
Yeah, well, maybe we can queue up the ideas if we get to it for Pivotal Tracker, and then we don't necessarily decide today, but at least talk about it.
Yeah.
We have time.
Good. Hey, Suze.
Hi.
We're just doing our scrum.
So who wants to go to Matt? How about yourself?
Sure. I read through all the PR notifications. I did look at the email things, not too closely. Generally, I don't really have anything. I have to look at it further before I can comment on it. And I've been working on writing tests for the user search, and I wrote a reply about the comments, and that's it.
Okay.
And I've been busy introducing bugs, I think, and trying to solve. And working on the generating membership numbers, and I'm almost finished with it, but I need some input after the Scrum.
Good.
Dana?
I have nothing to report, I don't think.
Okay. So then how much time do you have for this meeting?
Infinite.
Okay. I want to make sure that we get to item 6. If we have to move up, we need to move stories into production, and you're kind of key to that.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for Scrum. We have one parking lot item that Robert mentioned. So Robert, do you want to take it away? Do you want to share?
Yeah. Okay. So I've been making it possible to generate automatic membership numbers. But now the question is how to, well, some details are still open. One of the details is the membership number is given after it's accepted. But what do we do when the membership is rejected afterwards? Because that possibility is there still. Do we keep the number, or do you want to blank out the number, or what do you want to do with the membership number?
Was that a question for me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that.
Okay. What do you want to do when a member is rejected?
Oh, well, then they don't get the number.
Yeah, but they already have a number because you accepted them first.
Oh, but I see.
So they've been accepted, and then later
then that just gets like canceled, and the next person gets the next number, I guess. Because
Okay,
if we accept them, then we send them a membership card and everything, so they have their number even if they're rejected again. Or do you mean if we accidentally press the accepted button?
Well, both. If you accept them, they get a number. And if you reject them, or another case when they don't pay the membership for the second year, do you want them to keep the membership number and then reuse it when they become a member later on?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Can I ask why? I mean, it's just a sequential number. What do we care? Why do we need to recover numbers that are not applicable anymore?
But there is a membership number card.
Well, so what? The membership card has gone out with a number on it, and now we're going to give that same number to somebody else's membership.
No, nobody else.
No, you never give the number twice, but can they themselves keep it? So suppose they stop their membership and then they start their membership again. Do you send a new membership card, or do you let them keep them
at the moment, since there are laws about how long you can keep people's information, we do issue new numbers to people who haven't paid for a long time.
Okay.
Earlier, they got their old numbers back, but now they get new numbers.
I would suggest that to keep things simple, that once their membership ends, for whatever reason, rejected, mistake, they lapse for a year or 6 months, when they are accepted again, they get a brand new number.
Okay.
Yes.
Keeps things simple across the board, and then it seems like it syncs with how long to keep the information.
And then there's a related question to this. We can either make the membership number non-editable by the administrator, or we can leave it editable. The advantage of having being able to edit is you can do
Yes.
stuff to it, but you can also make mistakes, of course.
Yes. That's a tricky one.
You can never enter a double. So the worst that can happen is just that you get an error
Wrong.
message.
Yeah.
So
I see a value in keeping it editable at least for a while, because there are some really old members that are still paying that are not yet in the system. So I need them to get their original member numbers.
okay.
So that brings up a third thing, like you need, yeah, if somebody needs a membership number assigned, then wouldn't it be handy if, or would it be handy if the admin just had a little button there to press and said, assign the next available membership number?
What?
No,
No, that doesn't happen. That's not what you're saying.
I don't understand how that would need to happen.
So everybody has a number.
Yes.
Okay, so I misunderstood then. But if you two understand, I'm fine.
Yeah, I've been playing with the interface as it is now, and for me it's a bit strange because when you click on accept, you get the page with the membership number, and then it's already filled in for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to change anything.
I put in a pivotal tracker thing about that.
Oh, okay. But it works, and you can also, when you want to give out old membership numbers, if they're in the old system, and you can also. I only give membership numbers if there's a blank number there, so you can just you can blank the number and then accept it again to get a new number.
Uh-huh. And so let's say I fix in an old person, like an old user, and I accept their application and they get number 200, but they're not number 200, they're number 20, so I change that. Does the next one become 200 or?
No, the next one becomes 201.
Uh-huh.
So you lose the number
doesn't
200, but I don't think that matters, does it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I just wanted to know.
Yeah, so there are gaps. It's possible to have gaps in the numbering, because if a number is given and you don't take it, that number is lost.
Okay.
So with that scenario, if you enter 20, that 20 is still subject to uniqueness validation.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Okay. All right. Sounds
Okay.
Is that pretty much it, Robert?
Yeah, that's it for me. Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't too painful, huh? Guess we gotta maybe look at stories then. Do that. I don't know if we have too much to discuss on the stories, but let's see where we're at here. So current sprint. So is this one here, 318, is that ready for another review?
Yes, that's what I just updated.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. So there's the code part, and then Susanna, for sure, you can look at the formatting. And if there are any big formatting, major formatting things to do, I can change it. But I strongly suggest that fine-tuning or the formatting should be another PR, so we can address that separately.
Good idea. That sounds good to me.
So hopefully we can get that going.
Yeah, we've been out there for a while with this one.
It's a big PR, so I don't expect quick feedback.
I think it's already been reviewed once
Yeah.
by people, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. So look at that. This one here, I'm going to reach out to Raphael and see if he still wants to work on this or not. If he doesn't, I'll just take this story myself, and I will just investigate whether it's something in his PR that we want to bring forward. I think there might be a step that he added that might be useful to us.
Just to back up half a sec, sorry. I did put a note in about the PR. One test is failing, and I spent some time on it, but I can't figure it out, so I need help with that. And that's part of why I put work in progress tag on the PR name. Okay.
Okay, so you're going to have to catch me up on that. This one here?
Mm-hmm. So it's failing the build, and it fails because of one feature test, one cucumber test.
Mm-hmm.
And it's puzzling to me because it has to do with the locale. And I put a little note in the PR description comments.
Okay.
But yeah, if you look at it, what's really happening is the email is being created in English for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But when that feature test is running, when the cucumber test is running, the default locale, of course, is Swedish. And so it's testing against the Swedish locale entries. So so the real question is, why is that particular email for that particular test being generated in English? Why is that locale set to English when it's generated? I don't know.
I didn't look at that too carefully, but just from what I was doing, there's a get locale function. I forget the exact name, and I'm not sure how it works either. Maybe we could go over this, but it in the test runner, it looks up a user, and then based on that's what it appears to be doing. I don't understand it. I didn't look in too far, but looks like it looks up a user, and then based on the user, it picks a locale, and then uses that. And but that also affects what I was doing. So this issue also will affect the PR I'm working on.
Well, part of it. So the locale is actually picked up on at the application level. So if you look up into, I think we have it in the application controller, and this is kind of the standard, the convention, or a standard way to do it. So at the application level, there's a default locale set, and that is set when the application initializes to SV, which is Swedish. Now, if the user using the system clicks on the user interface button that we have so they can change it, then that will change. But the application has a default locale. But what's curious is all of the other tests, all of the other feature tests and the other cucumber tests there, I have to think this through because I haven't been working on too many of them. Anyway, why do all the other tests work with the correct locale, but this one doesn't? So I need some fresh eyes on this, and we don't have to do it all right now.
Is there a step where you, because I remember a lot of tests just use the flag to click the flag and change the locale. Did you use that in this one, or?
Mm-mm. So I don't know if it's right, if it's.
Is that a new cucumber test with this PR, or has that been in there for a while? Because that's been in there for a while, right? This one here.
Yeah.
This has been.
Okay.
Been working. So I don't know what's going on, but something in your PR evidently is going awry.
Right.
This has been out there for
a bit.
Wow. Yeah. Huh. Okay. So,
yeah, I just whenever. That's right. My head is I need fresh eyes on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Interesting problem.
Yes. So
No,
hopefully I just did something silly and straightforward.
Well, while you have that open, can you just explain to me what the @user thing is about? What that means? At the top of the scenario where it says @user.
Oh, so that is a tag. This is just a convenience tag. When you run Cucumber tests, you can tag your scenarios, and then you can use it to say only run scenarios that are tagged user, or only run scenarios that are tagged admin. And we're not real consistent with these. I've tagged some of the ones that I've done user or admin or whatever. That's helpful for me. Another place this tag is used is it is used very specifically to tag scenarios that use JavaScript. And I don't know, Patrick, if you can.
So it doesn't have any actual functional implication. It's just for like grouping things together. If you want to test like one aspect, like all the JavaScript.
In this,
features.
for this tag, yes. However, if you look at the environment or the support, the hook for this, I can't remember. Yeah, in the hooks.support hooks.rb.
Yeah, so this one here is a good example.
Right.
What I'm actually saying, so @admin is a tag. You can specify @admin when you run Cucumber to say only test tagged as admin. Have you run
No,
that?
not as admin. It's just a way to say run all the scenarios that are tagged admin.
Well, that's what I meant to say, tagged as admin. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, so the better way to say that would be tagged admin,
Yeah.
and then run those. So the confusing thing is they're right next to other things which are actual hooks. Say when you run this, look at the hooks file, and if there's such a tag as JavaScript in the hooks file, that tells us what browser we want to use, what driver, etc. So kind of a mixed bag. And Ashley, I think you're the only person who's actually looking using tags, which is probably a good idea. Good thing we talked about that, actually.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
So, Patrick, do you want to just bring up that support hooks.rb file? It's in the features.
Sure, I can do that. Let's see.
Yeah. So here's what we were talking about specifically is that this file is run the hooks.rb, and this is kind of a standard convention with Cucumber. So before any scenarios that have these tags, do this code. And then after them, so does that make sense, Matthew?
That makes sense. That's not what I had thought, or I didn't know what they were, but
Yeah.
So they are not just tags for grouping, they also actually have hooks for setup. So you need to do special setup for certain things, they do that also.
Yeah, right.
Okay. I can take a look at that later today, Ashley. So anyway, anything else on that?
No.
Okay. It's really strange that hooks.rb should have a Selenium and a Selenium browser hook as well. I don't know why that version that I looked at doesn't have that. But anyway, we have more hooks than what we just showed on that in the editor there.
But that's the file where they live, so.
Yep, that is the file. Okay, so this guy's still waiting to get unblocked by the email PR.
Yeah, and I may have almost, well, anyway, yeah. That will be simplified greatly, I think, once we get this foundational one in.
Okay. This is Matt's PR. Matt, maybe at the end of this, you and I can hang out and go through my comments from this morning on your PR, because I think we have a quite different philosophy on Cucumber testing.
That's fine.
So add test coverage to CI processing is, who's that?
Matt Looker.
Oh, that's Matt Luca, that's right. Okay, well, if anybody wants to take that, feel free to reassign that to themselves.
So should we make that not started or what?
Probably, yeah, why don't we do that? Let's unstart it. Yep. And I'll leave Matt as an owner in case he wants to come back and find it, but anybody else can take that. Add mailing address attribute. So this is a...
So I think you need to scroll back up since that was
oh,
reordered.
that's right. Yeah, I screwed up there. I just have trouble finding my place again once I do that. But anyway. So duplicate membership, we just talked about that. Need more information.
Yeah. That one is finished.
That one is finished. Has it been merged?
I don't think there's anything to merge.
That
It's
was
just the check and the correcting.
Okay, so I can finish it?
no,
Or not?
I thought you
There's
put...
a PR number for it.
yeah, I think we
you
merged.
included the uniqueness constraint, right? So we didn't need to merge something there.
Don't
Yeah,
sell you.
oh, we did merge. Yeah.
So we're good on... We did merge it though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good on that. Let's see. So this one was in place. Do we need to review that on our next client meeting, or are we good with this one?
We have reviewed it.
So
We just didn't press a button.
not only that, but you and Bella submitted it, so the users like it. So everybody okay to accept?
Yep, been merged.
Okay, good. Let's see now, generate numbers. Robert just talked about that, working on that. This is, so I've got a PR in place for that. I'd like to get that in because I need to build upon that PR for my next PR.
What PR number is that? Let's see.
How come it's not there?
355.
355? Okay. Yep. So Ashley, I think it just takes a quick once over from you.
Okay.
Yep. And then we'll
Yep,
do
I can do that.
right, that's a fix. Is that fix been? I think that fix got merged. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Good on that. We delivered it, and we all accept it. Okay, good. All right. Anything else on these? Anybody have any comments of these unstarted things?
Well, the add mailing address, I guess you haven't started that one specifically, but you have an Epic.
I actually do. I've actually started that, so I'm going to click a start.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I do have an Epic in place. What I was proposing to do was just, actually, I don't need to talk about that now, do I? I'd rather not
Okay.
bog down on that because we have other stuff we need to go over. Let's see. We can come back to that if needed. So we did that. I think we're good. Want to talk about Pivotal Tracker and points or not for chores and bugs?
Yes, but can just back to the list, our backlog list for a sec. I guess one thing, if you well, I guess this fits into Pivotal Tracker stuff. Just scrolling down, I've reordered. I've put those bugs in so they come up to the very top of the backlog list. And my thought with that is that bugs are important and they need to be fixed. One upcoming thing that I guess it's not a bug, it's a chore, that I really want to point out is that there are some significant security fixes in Ruby 2.4.2. And I think we should take care of that pretty quickly.
route we on now? Are we on 2.3 or 2.4?
We're on 2.4.1.
Okay.
So,
So going to 2.4.2
Two.
should be not should just work.
Yeah, I hope so. So that's it. I wanted to point that out.
So why did you put them in 26? What's the reason for not putting them in the current sprint?
Well, so I guess we are talking about pivotal tracker. So you can't, it's not started. That chore is not started. And so typically, although there is a way to make it so, you can't put things in the current sprint until they're started.
Okay.
So that's a little bit different way of thinking about that list than we've been thinking about it.
So we could always start bugs when we put them in?
You can press start and then unstart it, but that's
Many things you can start on is based on the points assigned. With our current scheme, bugs having 0 points means you can always start them because they don't add to the count of story points.
Okay, but okay. But I would actually like to see them in the current sprint, but that's not.
So Robert, when you say current sprint, what?
Oh, I thought that's, for example, now it would be sprint 25 and not 26 for the bugs.
That's right. Current iteration is what PT calls it.
Oh, current iteration.
Yeah. Current sprint, same thing.
Yeah. So let's see. I don't know if I can move.
I was just wondering if there was a reason for putting them there. But
actually, it is in the current iteration. So one thing I would like to do is take out this red sprint 23. Can I just delete release tag? Can I just delete that?
Yeah.
Since it's not really meaningful to us. Okay, and that will maybe clear things up. So that chore upgrade to Ruby 2.4.2.
yeah, that's in the current sprint. But I mean, the bugs are in the next sprint.
Okay.
Oh, I was just wondering if there's a special reason for it.
No, I just
Okay. Yeah. Great.
hadn't.
Oh, did you put it back again?
I did. I dragged it. And I was
Okay.
playing
That's,
the time.
so you can just put them in the current sprint and it's no problem. Yeah.
Yeah, if it doesn't have points assigned, you can move it around.
Right.
So we don't have to do the trick of starting and unstarting. We can just drag and drop. Is that correct, Ashley?
Yeah,
We do that?
if it doesn't have points assigned, yeah. If it's a feature, then right, pivotal tracker is going to work on the velocity constraint. So that's an advantage to not assigning points, I guess.
So do we?
So did you also put it back again? Are you guys still, or is it the
Move all the
system?
ladybugs. Make him happy.
Should we move all
Okay,
of
now,
them
okay.
in the next sprint up, as Robert suggests? Is that what you're asking, Robert? Should
No, this is okay. I just wanted to see it stay there. It's okay. Because you did it for 1 second and then it was back again.
Yes.
I didn't see if it, but this is okay. You can put it back now if you want to. I don't.
So we have the so that's how that works.
Yeah.
So do we want to actually move any for real right now?
I would think as a best practice, we would just put the bugs in the current sprint always.
Okay.
we have, actually, we don't have that many bugs, do we? So is that I'll just move these up then. And so there's a couple here that, Susanna, if you could get done, that would be great. These production errors.
Okay.
They're not code errors. Let's do that up there. Okay, good. That looks more reassuring, isn't it? Like we're putting our bugs first.
And okay, this is also a reason why we wouldn't want to give points to the bugs, because then this wouldn't be possible, probably.
Yes, correct.
Is
Okay.
that true? Since we're doing manual planning and sprints, we can put anything in the current sprint, can't we?
Well,
I mean, we have a velocity of 1 right now, right?
Okay.
We have 2 points here, 2 points here. That's 6 points, all of 8 points. We already have 8 points stacked
Yeah.
against
Yep.
the velocity 1, so we can put anything in the current sprint.
Okay.
Because we're doing manual planning. If we weren't, auto planning would negate the ability to have that happen.
so my proposal is that we just work with it like this for a bit, not apply points to bugs or chores,
Yeah, agreed.
and see how this goes and get a feel for it. And we can then adjust after we have some experience with working with it this way.
Because as you've been thinking about it, so what would be the reasons for giving points to bugs and chores?
So for me, the reasons are that in a real project, just a couple, in a real project in a real workplace, and it's true for anything, a fundamental tenet of any.
Just like to say, we have real customer. The clients are very real, so I don't know. I think maybe we should.
Absolutely, but in a real project, you get what you measure. That's true not just in software. That's true in everything. It's a fundamental tenet, and so if you only measure features, that's the focus, and that's very important, of course. But then that means that all of the work we're doing on bugs and chores is not being measured, so we can't analyze it, and it's not being acknowledged. And both of those things are important on a project. If you don't acknowledge the work that's being done, that has to do with morale. And in an open source project, if somebody comes in and fixes an important bug, there's not acknowledgement of that work with this tool. That's a problem. In the real workforce, the way that can be used is people are only measured based on their velocity, or that's a primary metric that's used in managing a project by managers, rightly or wrongly. Those are the analytics that you have. That's how people are measured. And so that's what people will work for. So really, for a number of reasons, one is you need to be able to measure all the work that you're doing. And so that means bugs and chores included. And then as a real world, real people work issue, you need to acknowledge the work that's being done. So those are the two reasons why I think it's very important that a tool that you use be able to track both of those.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So
but I still stand by for us right now. I still think it's a good idea to use a tool like this for a while so that we can understand it and get used to it and then revisit it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Patrick, you were gonna?
Yeah, so my argument is this planning tool, if it's going to be of use to us, really has to be able to plan against the things we actually do, as opposed to presumably in a production environment with a full team of full-time developers, etc. Bugs and chores is background activity, maybe consuming 20% of people's week or whatever. The rest is 80% of new features. And so most of the effort goes to new features. You also don't want bugs and chores because they consume points being involved in your sprint planning because they don't add any value. You want to focus on user features. And so that's why in a production environment, 80% of the effort goes to new features, etc. it makes sense not to do bugs and chores in terms of your point allocation. With us, we're going to be using this tool as a planning tool, and based upon our velocity, and it could be for the foreseeable future, we have a velocity of 1 point. Yet the vast majority of our effort, such as it is, and we have capacity from the team, goes to chores and bugs. So there's that. So the planning aspect of this is absolutely useless for us from that point of view because we don't operate that way. The other aspect of us is we have new people coming, going. They come in from MOOCs. They barely know how to do this stuff, so they're learning. So we look at things like refactoring, maybe additional tests, et cetera, to give them. Tests don't add any value to the point of view of the user. Refactoring doesn't either. But it's where a lot of our development capacity goes because of the nature of some of the people who come in, take a story, and then leave. So that's not reflected in this plan at all. The way we work is totally counter to not counting bugs and chores in the points that we can get done in any particular sprint. In fact, it's so lopsided, it's ridiculous. 1 point for features and 11 points, 12 points we've typically done in sprints of the other types, and we're ignoring the vast bulk of the effort that we put into this project from a planning point of view. None of that makes sense.
Please, can I please say something? Just your point about where time gets spent, it's well documented that 60% of time is spent fixing bugs. It's been measured extensively for decades, and that's very well established that everyone spends 60% time on bugs.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think it applies to this project either.
Well, I think that, yeah, in general, in general, most resources on software are spent in maintenance, bugs, chores, that kind of stuff. Now, if you're developing a new system, obviously you're doing new features, so you're in a slightly different thing. But, I mean, that metric, I think actually supports what you're saying, Patrick. Most of our time is not on new features. We certainly have those, but we have all this other activity.
Exactly. I think that's it.
Yeah, so I think that Matthew's point actually kind of supports what you're saying.
Yeah, so I just don't think the way we work and the way PT planning works out of the box, ignoring chores and bugs, doesn't make any sense at all and adds no value from a planning point of view. So we don't, if it's not telling us accurately how many things we can do in the next sprint as it automatically plans for us, and if we ever switch to automatic planning, if we got the planning right, we could switch to auto planning. Then what's the use of it? It's just another misuse of this tool, as far as I'm concerned, like we've been misusing it up to this point and not really leveraging it. So that's my piece.
Yep.
So we don't need to make a decision now, but I'd recommend
think about it.
Yeah, maybe people. Yeah, so there's our calculated velocity. PT says we can do one user feature, 1 point, maybe 2 week sprint, and it's right if you look based upon the planning algorithm in place now, and that's just dumb for us to put up with that because it doesn't fit with how professional teams use, commercial teams use PT. Well, who cares how they use it? We would get more value out of it if we adapted it to how we work and the nature of our team. So this is something that we should think about and come back, but I encourage everybody to think about it again.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a small thing. I think this is actually it could be impactful for us. Now, Ashley found out that if we switch to having chores and bugs be having points, we can assign points to them, we can't go back. If we decide, oh, this is not working for us, we can't undo that. It's a one road. So that's something to consider.
And the practical point of a lot more time spent on giving the points to the bugs and chores and stuff.
Yep, there's that.
There's that, but then we discuss them. And again, not so much given the points that's the value add, it's discussing them and coming up with the points so we can understand what it is we're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
That I would hope that if it worked, we would actually give a shot with automated planning Right now we're not. We're dragging and dropping, as you guys saw.
But
Everything we might work on, then PT would actually try to auto plan all the sprints.
Can you, is it bugs and chores, or can you even distinguish between bugs and chores? Because I get your argument about the chores, but not about the bugs, because I wouldn't want them to have to wait for the for our meeting and then being voted upon, if they can be solved quicker.
So what auto planning works? We haven't tried it yet.
I understand. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So auto planning beyond the current iteration will take from your backlog, stuff that's not in your current iteration. So the intent there would be that if we want to make sure the bugs show up first, we would drag stuff to the top of the backlog, and auto planning consumes from the top of the backlog of things that have points. That's how it works, as I've read it. So we would make sure that bugs are at the top here for the next auto planning cycle. Now, if we wanted to get a critical bug in to the current iteration, we probably could just start, and it by default then shows up here, I'd imagine, because it has to declare defeat. We've started it, so it's part of the current iteration. It has to admit it and put it in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but do we still have the option to give 0 points to a bug?
I would think so. Sure.
Okay.
I don't know if you can assign 0 points to something.
Good question. That's a very good question. Do we have
If you assign 0 points to a feature?
Depends on your configuration. They have one option where you can go 2, 0, 2, 4, 8, or you can do 1, 2, 3, or you can set custom, and you can choose whatever you want.
Well, there.
Okay.
So I think they have some other things like Fibonacci or something, but yeah, that's a good point.
So if you're looking at the screen, we can assign 0 points. We've set it up that way. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. So then then the point is moot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-op. You can do that. It's just got to be done at one weekly time. Yeah.
And it is bugs and chores. You can't separate them out. I just was reading that.
Okay. But if you can put the bugs to 0, we can. Well, it's the same as doing just chores.
Yes.
Okay, but we can think about it later. Yeah.
I guess you're right. You're right about that, Robert.
Good discussion.
Okay, so I think what we can do now, unless there's something else we want to talk about, is move stuff to production while we're all here.
Do we want to talk so we all have work going forward, and we have a clear list of what else should be worked on. Is there any of those bugs we should either
I saw those production error things. Should we fix that before I deploy now?
Yeah.
Or are they fixable in the system? I can't look at them while my computer is doing a Hangout.
Are you saying, are there pull requests pending that are production fixes that we should merge?
No, those things in the pivotal tracker.
So these are things that you've entered. So one is looks like, I would, my vote on this is just in general, no. We deploy what we have now on our schedule now.
Okay.
And those can be fixed in the next sprint.
Yeah, these look, I mean, the critical one was merged this morning or yesterday, which is this one. So that's an argument for let's get into production ASAP. Okay, so Susanna, you need any help with that, or?
Just if something breaks.
So I can stay in the Hangout with you, Susanna, and so you can do it, and we can make sure it gets deployed. And if something goes wrong, I can help with that. How's that?
She said she can't do it while on Hangout because of the bandwidth or something.
That I can do. I can't look in the pivotal tracker or anything else.
Or yeah, but yeah. So this is, I have time to help with that and help make sure it's deployed.
It should not break because it hasn't the last few times, but you never know.
Right.
Okay, so Matt, do you want to talk about this right now?
Sure.
So Susanna, do you want you and I to leave, and then you and I can do a separate hangout? And Patrick, you and Matt can stay in this one, or?
That sounds fine.
Okay.
It was fine with me.
All right then.
Okay, I'll do something on my own.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
So you understand my rationale, right, Matt, for these comments?
Yes, I think I understand what you're saying. You don't want me to. You don't want to just put in extra clutter and stuff in the code for no reason, and you want the Cucumber specs to read how the screen would intuitively be. I think that's basically what you're saying.
Exactly. The Cucumber test really should rely upon only what's visible on the screen. Now, to your point, and I agree, it's kind of ugly to see this stuff. We've set the test up so we can run them in different scenarios.
Yeah,
But you actually could run, because you run an English scenario. If this step said, when I fill in, quote, profile email, unquote, with Luke, then it would work actually, because you're running an English locale and you're not resetting to a Swedish locale in the part of the testing. But to be general, we tend to do this in case somebody wants to run in a Swedish locale, and this will show up correctly on their browser. You know what I mean? So that's why we do that. So if Susanna was running our tests, this actually would say, when I fill in, and the text here would be email profile in Swedish.
So yeah, my 2 points were, one, that's code, and that's not literally on the screen. There's nothing on the screen that looks like that. And
it is literally on the screen. If you ran it,
there's no T, there's no parentheses. It doesn't say users.search form. It's not literal.
It is. If you ran it with browser in visible mode, you would see Swedish in the form. You wouldn't see email profile. It would say email profile in Swedish. So yes, it is literally on the view on the browser as seen by Cucumber. So that's why we do that. So it adapts to the locale in which the test is being run.
Not sure what you're talking about. As seen by Cucumber?
Yeah, so if we ran a Selenium test using a visible browser that pops up, Chrome, for instance, and you can see what Cucumber is doing as it runs through the test, then you would see that if I was in a Swedish locale, my browser was set to a Swedish locale, then everything would appear in Swedish. And so Cucumber, when it encounters this, it would see on the screen a Swedish label rather than an English label, because we do the translation specific to the locale of the user running the test. That's why we do the translations here.
Right. I know that does. Could you show me what you're talking about?
Let's see. Let's see. Got to clean up here a little bit. I could learn to type. Let's see now. Where it looks. Bear with me here. We'll confused because the hooks are not showing me the available browser that I want to use. And so there's something going on there that I don't fully understand. So let me look at this. You see that there? I'm supposed to see that in my hooks file. I don't know why I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, I don't really, as I said before, the hooks thing is a new thing to me. So
Yeah, no, I got you. So I think what happened is somebody reverted our hooks file. So let's do this. So I can't show you a Swedish versus English version because my locale is English, of course. Let me check out here. Say. Okay. I do have that. Generally, we avoid using browsers in visible mode because it goes really slow, as you can imagine. But here's one, maybe I can do this. We'll just make this a. So the hook says this particular browser is going to be in visible mode. So that's, what is it, event management.feature. So let's go to that. So 34, 35. This is on another project. So this is Capybara driving the browser, and the browser is in visible mode, so we can see what's happening. That went really fast, but you get the idea. Somebody logged in, they accessed the form, did some change, and came back. So that's what's going on there. So if we were running that particular project in international mode and we had Swedish translation, everything we would have seen on the browser that popped up would be in Swedish. Does that make sense?
yes, the locales translate the whatever locale is being used.
Yep.
The
Exactly.
translation I18N
Yep.
translates.
Yeah, so Capybara would see exactly that translated string as specified in the test step. So so we've always followed this philosophy that we want to stick with that. With Cucumber in particular, it's designed to do those kind of tests. And yeah, if you read the test step verbatim, it says some weird code looking thing. If you actually ran the browser in visible mode, and that's what we do for a user. If we demo these acceptance tests, we'd run it in visible mode. They would see that. We'd also slow it down so they could see that as well. But that's what's going on there. So just adding IDs for test purposes, if we don't need it, it's just something that a maintenance programmer stumbles over a year from now and say, what's that ID doing there? I don't know what it's doing. I'm afraid I can't remove it though, because I don't fully understand what's going on here. And they have to spend 10 minutes noodling about that. They finally, with trepidation, remove it in case hopefully nothing breaks. But with dynamic programming, etc., they're not sure that that ID is not actually being used elsewhere in a method missing or a dynamic programming, meta programming context. So it's just not a good practice, I don't think.
So I completely disagree with you, but it's your project, and I'll make the code consistent, and however you want me to do it, that's how I'll do it.
Okay. Do you care to tell me why you completely disagree with me?
Because I think that someone should be able to take the Cucumber spec, print it out on a sheet of paper, and read it and understand it, even if they're not sitting in front of a computer and they have nothing else to look at. And I don't think that's possible.
Okay. Well, I would say that, if I can read this and it says profile email, oh, I know that form. It asked me for a profile email in the search form. That's great. Or if I see something that says profile dash email, that I can understand that too, because I remember there's a profile email field in that form. I don't think there's a whit of difference between the two, to be honest. But anyway, I guess we're not going to agree on that, which is fine. But yeah, that's how I'd like to see it. Okay, Matt, anything else?
Yeah, could you give me some examples of how you would like the other tests too, so that I know? I know you said to look at the different tests and that from other ones, but they're not like the hooks thing. I don't really know. Like maybe maybe this is something I should just hand off to someone else anyways. I don't know. Maybe someone else can finish this. I don't know. But
the hooks and the tags thing is not really germane. I think we just got into discussion because you had asked what that tag was. So I think the only tags that really matter to you are, you don't tag it. Hooks, I should say, hooks.
So if you want me to finish this, then if you have an example, I'll follow that example. Otherwise, I'm not going to finish it. And
okay, that's fine. So, it's up to you. It's part of the story.
Other things going on, and I have I don't want to just do some things if it's not even going to be what you want me to do anyways. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. So if you want some examples, then there are plenty of them we could look at.
I just want one example.
I'm not going to walk you through the details of one example here, Matt. You do what you want.
I don't want multiple examples. I want one example. I can understand one example. If there's two examples, I have to pick out the differences between them. If there's one example, then
so look at search companies.feature. That's similar functionality.
So just go onto GitHub, just say this is the example, and I will use that example and I'll make it the same way.
It's called search companies.feature. I'm talking now, Matt. I've told you the example, and I think we're done here. Okay. Anyway, you decide what you want to do. Hopefully you continue. We appreciate your efforts.
I would like
to. I think you're doing good work. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, great. We'll talk later. Take care.